I've seen a situation that's going viral through many videos from many different angles all over the internet right now, and the story goes like this. A few MAGA supporters show up to Tennessee State University to have some civil debate. Now, the civil debate that they end up getting is hundreds of students crowding them, stealing their signs, and then chasing them off of campus while giving them middle fingers and screaming at them. And I watched these videos and I thought, wait a second, I know one of these MAGA supporters, and if you're a fan of this channel and you watch for quite some time, you may know him too. And guess what? He's on the show today, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. What a crazy situation happening over at Tennessee State University. And with everything going on in our political climate, with talks about political violence and what happened to Charlie Kirk, this video becomes deeply concerning the more you get into it and the more you watch of this sort of rabid behavior from students at TSU. And I first came across this video because it popped up on my TikTok For You page, and it didn't pop up from a right-winger talking about the students' behavior. It popped up because one of the students posted that MAGA supporters, quote, invaded our HBCU. And this is how they responded.
MAGA supporters invaded our HBCU.
What is going on over here?
Now, do you see that that lock-in on that face there? Do you guys recognize that face? That is Cam Higby, okay? I used to work with Cam, and now he's making these videos, and he has been for quite some time, going to university campuses and civilly debating students. Now, it didn't turn out so well at TSU, so let's keep watching.
You called the East primitive for what? We created y'all knowledge. We created y'all science. We created y'all math. Y'all didn't do shit besides steal. Y'all didn't do anything to your...
We created y'all knowledge. We created y'all science. We created y'all math. All right, bet. Source?
You guys didn't make shit. You guys touch children. You guys fuck them.
Showing them the door.
Oh, pedophilia accusations.
We walking them to the door, y'all. I don't even know how they got on campus. We gonna figure that out, but I don't know. They need to get like a trespass, like penalty or something, because
Sending them off.
Tell him it's that boy. He thought he was gonna come up like Charlie.
yes, yes, yes. Say good job, TSU.
Good job. Shout out to my school.
Okay, so isn't that fascinating? Now, it's so funny because these students posted this video thinking that they've done something wonderful here, thinking that they've done something correct, that they've kicked off these people who are just trying to have civil discourse. Now, they did mention that these individuals, including Cam, were apparently not authorized to be on the campus, so we're going to, in fact, engage on that topic with Cam once he's on the show. But the comments on here are absolutely insane. Somebody says, why are they so obsessed with us? Others say they're mad because our HBCUs are outperforming theirs. Okay. Another one says they want civil war. They want violence from us. And then this one, even crazier, he wants to be Charlie Kirk 2.0. Now, many of these comments are sort of asking for violence against Cam and others who were with him. It's just absolutely ridiculous to watch. And I can go ahead and through my experience with Cam and knowing him, maybe make the inference that he doesn't want you guys to be violent. He doesn't want a civil war. I think he actually just wanted civil discussion and he didn't end up getting that. Now, there's more footage of what's taken place here that, of course, as I said, has gone massively viral. Now, I'm going to show you how these students engaged with them. Now, mind you, all they had was a table set up, a couple of signs of what they wanted to discuss, microphones for everybody there, and cameras. And here's how these HBCU students reacted.
Hey, you can't don't do that. Don't do that. Come on. Yo.
Oh, you better not, boy. You better not.
Okay. Bring the sign back.
I just gotta pause to say this is so disturbing. I mean, I don't know how to describe this without sounding extremely offensive. I don't know how to describe what I'm seeing right now, but you guys can sort of figure out what I'm thinking. This is insane. You guys are insane. And these people think that they're activists. They think they're conducting themselves in a professional manner. They think they're doing what's right. They think they're getting rid of what neo-Nazis and white nationalists rather than the actual idea that they may be creating them with behavior like this.
All right, we're gonna do like a little end live pre-game or post-game situation here. We have 500 people watching.
We've got 500 right here watching.
Look.
Little fingers, great.
This is insane. What the heck? Oh my gosh.
Well, I think the Fearless tour definitely made an impact.
Yeah. Oh, whoa.
Did somebody just throw something in our car?
Arrest.
They just try to hit the car.
Just the imagery of like these black officers dealing with these black students at an HBCU who are completely conducting themselves in like the most horrific manner you could possibly conduct yourself in response to somebody trying to have civil discourse with you is just insane. And it says a lot. It's very, very telling to how divisive politics has become in our country these days, and specifically on university campuses, which are just indoctrination centers at this point. This is how you act when you are brainwashed and indoctrinated. There is no person in their right mind who is treating somebody with a differing opinion like this. These people are insane. They're insane.
Oh my gosh.
I think Forrest is still out there trying to make sure the car is safe.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, officers.
Wow. Hey!
Yeah, they threw a drink up top.
Oh my gosh, they threw a drink up top. We got this all live. I'm posting this directly after so everyone can see exactly.
Holy shit.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
turned up a lot.
All right, guys. We are out of here. We'll see you later from the Fearless Tour gang.
Are they gonna block me in here now?
I think that might be what they're trying to do. They're intentionally
This is
blocking
like
us.
it's such degeneracy. I don't know. Like it's actually it's making me laugh because it's shocking.
They're hitting the car.
I thought they wanted us to leave.
They're hitting the car. We're trying to leave, and they're telling us to leave, and they don't want us to leave, I guess. Hey! They are still hitting the car.
That's okay. Bring in the
How is this a university?
Look, they're intentionally blocking us. They want us to leave, but they don't want us to leave.
It's like the biggest conundrum of all time. They're still hitting the car. This is wild. It's like a zombie apocalypse or something, man. Like the
Zombie apocalypse looks more to me about like a group of, let's say, 100 to 150 future doctors and lawyers. Right, guys?
oh. They're still hitting the car. Whoa! That was loud.
It's just so insane. This is the state of civil discourse in this nation. This is the state of our education system. And this specifically seems to be a testament to HBCUs because everybody wants to be all so bad, according to the TikTok comments under this one. This is insane, okay? And the story gets even crazier. It gets even crazier when we get into the response from the university themselves. Now, you would think Tennessee State University, after seeing this footage, would come out and profusely apologize. Now, they may say this group of people was not authorized to be on campus, and that's something to discuss. It's something to call out, and we'll do that with Cam, as I said before. But are we going to discuss the behavior of your students? Are we going to point out the fact that they conducted themselves in a completely unprofessional, just degenerate manner? Probably not. And here's the statement itself. Let's read it. TSU statement on unauthorized campus activity. So it's not a statement on the behavior of your students when asked for civil discourse. It's a statement on unauthorized campus activity. They say today a group of individuals unaffiliated with Tennessee State University appeared on campus without prior notice. In accordance with university policy, any demonstration or protest activity requires advanced approval and permitting. So it says, in accordance with university policy, any demonstration or protest activity, which is very interesting wording. I'm going to get to that hopefully with Cam, and maybe he'll have some knowledge there. Were they demonstrating, or were they doing any sort of protest activity, or were they there to have civil discourse? Maybe that'll clear things up. Now they go on to say campus police and staff responded promptly, and individuals were escorted from university grounds without incident. Without incident. I saw vandalism. I saw some verbal assault. It could have gotten physical at times with the way that they were taking their signs and touching their property. So they were apparently escorted off university grounds without incident. Do y'all know that the video footage exists? Do y'all know that your own students posted the video footage online all over on all these different platforms? And that they're getting cheered on by other degenerates? Did they know that Cam and his entire group had footage of this? Anyways, they say at all times, TSU students conducted themselves in a professional and respectful manner. If this is professional and respectful, I would love to see what unprofessional and disrespectful behavior looks like for these people. They go on to say the safety and well-being of our students, faculty, and staff remain our highest priority. Not to your students, not to your faculty and staff, it seems. TSU will continue to uphold university policies and ensure that campus remains a safe, welcoming, and orderly environment for all members of our community. And just like that, the comments are turned off on this. Because, I don't know, everybody and their mother, brother, and sister can see how TSU students actually conducted themselves, the way that they treated not only the people who are visiting their campus to have civil discussion, but the police officers, the way they treated the car, the way they just completely crowded these individuals, screaming, throwing middle fingers at them, throwing water at them. It's absolutely insane. And if we can't see something like this and completely relate it to what took place with Charlie Kirk at UVU, then we don't have eyes, because this is the state of the university education system. And as I said before, they are indoctrination centers. Students are going into these university campuses, either being left-leaning, unaffiliated, being conservative even. Conservative students are being asked to hide their views, to pretend to have different views, essentially, to get by in these schools. Free speech, it seems, is non-existent, given this response, given what happened to Charlie Kirk, given the way the conservative students feel on campus. The education system itself is pushing leftist ideology, left and right, things like DEI and critical race theory, critical feminist theory, critical body theory. All of these different isms and phobias are being pushed onto these very young, malleable minds. But these young, malleable minds are also adults, and they're adults conducting themselves in the manner like what we just saw at Tennessee State University. It's completely unacceptable. And mind you, HBCUs, federal funding, they're receiving a lot of federal funding. Should you continue to receive federal funding like this? When this is how you behave, when this is how you treat people who come to your campus and try to have civil discourse? Is the federal funding going anywhere at these schools if this is how students are conducting themselves? But somebody on TikTok says everybody wants to be at the HBCU. Everybody's obsessed with the HBCUs, right? They're mad, quote, because our HBCUs are outperforming theirs. Okay. Mind you, there are sources reporting that this particular HBCU, Tennessee State University, has a graduation rate of about 22%. So yeah, I don't think these individuals are upset that you're outperforming them. I think we actually need to bring the performance up and start performing like actual human beings and not like a National Geographic documentary. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. At the risk of sounding like one of those white nationalist neo-Nazis, that's how you guys are acting. Okay. Now with that, now that we've established the whole situation, let's bring on Cam to talk about this further. Because as I said, I saw these videos and I said, well, damn, I know him. All right. So Cam, you're back on the show. This time you're not in the producer's bay. So welcome. Where are you right now?
Thanks. I'm in New York. I'm in a hotel, not in the producer's bay.
Are you unwinding a little bit, relaxing after your tumultuous time at TSU?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah, you have to
Drove
run
up.
me through like what you were going through here, because you came up on my TikTok page. It was one of these students posting you, and of course they zoom in on your face, and all of a sudden I'm having this realization that okay, this is Cam, and I know you travel around to universities to have these discussions. In this moment, what are you feeling? Because you don't really get a lot of time to address the camera or to speak about what's happening. How did this all go down, and how'd you feel?
Yeah. So we've been going to college campuses across the United States, especially after Charlie died, to kind of keep the message alive and show people that we're not afraid to have conversations, both the right and the left. And we went to TSU, which was the first historically black college that we went to, and I think it probably won't be the last now. And we show up, and the campus is dead. There's nobody. I mean, we thought about packing up and leaving because when we first stepped foot on the campus, there was nobody. And one of my business partners actually looked at me and said, we might as well just tell the security to go home. Like, there's no reason that nothing's going to happen here. And so we go and we set up the table, we set up the microphones, we set up the signs, and one person comes up, or I guess it was a group of two, come up and they start having a conversation with us, and we're just talking about DEI and racism in the United States and stuff like that. And it was honestly one of the most civil conversations that I've had on the whole tour. I mean, I was laid back. I think I'm probably mostly because I was tired. And all of a sudden, this angry mob starts to form. And then the police come, the campus police, and they kind of tell us, like, you're supposed to get a permit. And we're like, yeah, but it's a public university. This is, the First Amendment. And they're like, yeah, you're right. And then they kind of just like hung around and protected us. And the mob grew and grew and grew to the point where it was like 500 people, and they just started pushing closer and closer until we were completely surrounded. And we decided, well, we're not going to get anything productive done today, so we might as well leave. And the police flanked us on the way out, and I mean, they were stealing our signs. And you see in the videos, they have these BLM signs. Those are our signs. They ripped them up, stole our Sharpies, and wrote on them. And then they follow us to the car. We get in the car. They're yelling at my security guard, by the way, who is black, and they're basically calling him a race traitor and stuff. And we get in the car, and then they surround the car. They get in their cars. They block us onto the campus, and they're throwing stuff at the car, banging on the windows. It's crazy.
Yeah, was there any sort of like tipping point? Because as you said, you started with some pretty civil discussions and then these people just sort of congregate. Was there any moment where you knew like, oh, this is going to go down? I know in the video footage you see a sign gets stolen and you walk up to sort of get it back and a guy gets in your face and is like, don't do that. And immediately you're like, okay, this is going to go somewhere different. What happened there?
Yeah, the tipping point was where the first sign was stolen. Once somebody does it, then everyone's going to do it, and they started stealing other stuff. And then the mob realized they can do whatever they want, and there's more of them than there are the police. And at first, we didn't think it was going to go this way because at every campus we go to, a large crowd forms of anywhere from like 30 to 100 people. This is not out of the ordinary for us, but usually it's very civil. We have a speaker, like a giant JBL, and both the guest and us speak on it. And that usually keeps the audience pretty quiet because they're just listening to the conversation. But in this case, they went ballistic, and very quickly after the first sign was stolen, it totally devolved. There was one guy who had a screwdriver and he was holding it backhanded like a weapon as he was talking to my debate partner David, and we didn't even realize he had a screwdriver because there's so much going on around us that this guy's right next to us with a weapon, and we don't even realize it's in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, and things can change so quickly. I can imagine how like that it's got to induce fear of some sort. Were you scared? Were you guys kind of kept it cool and you kind of kept filming, you kept yourself collected pretty well? What were you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, you know me, like very low pressure situations for me are very high pressure.
Mhm.
I kind of freak out when it's like a room and it's calm. But for
Mhm.
me, when the adrenaline's rushing and I'm in the middle of what is essentially a riot, that's when I'm like pretty much at my prime.
Right, right, right. The zone kicks in. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. And I'm insane. What's insane about this, because you just described that as a riot, which anybody who's watching this video could basically see that that's what's taking place. I mean, they're
Mhm.
hitting your car, they're throwing middle fingers at you, they're trying to block your car as you're trying to leave. And of course, we've gotten to the university response. We've already read that for the audience here. The university claims that they conducted themselves in a professional and respectful manner. That's the quote there. And they've actually called you guys out and said that you guys were on the campus unauthorized and that it's actually essentially your fault. They've blamed you for what's taken place
Yeah.
and essentially said, well, nothing has taken place. What's your take on that? What's the whole background with the permitting and being allowed to be on the campus?
Yeah, they actually sent an email to the alumni, and their alumni leaked it to me, where they called us hostile, even though we just sat down and we're actually having a very nice conversation with one of the young
Mhm.
men who walked up and talked to us. And I mean, my take is just like it's on video. We live streamed the whole thing. We
Mhm.
recorded the whole thing. There were at least 8 separate cameras recording the whole thing, and then you can see from my camera angles the whole mob is also recording. It's like this is not something you're going to be able to contain. So why lie about it? Why not just say we condemn the actions of our students? And this wouldn't be such a big story, because really what made us very upset about this and push it 10 times harder was because the school blamed us and said that their students acted respectfully and professionally. What is professional and respectful about what they did? Basically pushing us off a public campus. We didn't have a permit. We try to call the universities, all of them, before we show up and let them know that we're coming. And they're usually very accommodating. They're
Mhm.
public campuses. We don't really go to private campuses unless we can get in touch with some CRs that can hook us up with an invitation.
Mhm.
But we call the public campuses, and they usually are very accommodating. The administration just comes out and says, "Okay, well, I hope you guys are doing well." And yep, this is it. Like Clemson did that, UNC Charlotte, all of them. And but this administration, we called them and they sent us straight to voicemail before we came. And then the police came and gave us the numbers to the administration as well. And again, we called 3 times and straight to voicemail. So there wasn't a way to get permission to come to this campus either way. And but it's a public campus, so we just, this is our First Amendment right, so we showed up and we did that. And even if there was a justification to kick us off campus for not having a permit, that's the duty of the administration, not the student body, to remove us in a violent manner. If a police officer would have come down and given us a lawful order to leave, we would have done so immediately.
Right. It seems like you
But they
guys
didn't.
were very willing, even when the situation was getting tense. You're like, okay, we're gonna get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
we're gonna do it. Just somebody allow us to do it smoothly and safely. And the students, interestingly enough, you say in the video, or somebody says in the video, you want us gone, but you're also trying to keep us here. So in that
Yeah.
sort of high pressure situation, what are you meant to think is going to happen?
Well, I mean, it's this university is in a rough neighborhood, so like that's also a factor. Is like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know who's around or who's going to do what, or we've already seen them with screwdrivers. They've damaged the vehicle. What's next? Why are they driving in front of us so slow, or at times even completely stopped? And it was obviously like they were holding us up for some reason. And it
Right.
is a contradiction. Why are you yelling at us to leave and doing this with your hand, like pointing to the exit to the campus, but you're not letting us leave?
Yeah, you guys are better than me. I would have hightailed it out of there when I saw that crowd forming. I thought this is not the situation for me. And I'm wondering, now that we have the university responding publicly, they of course know who you are. All this footage is out there. You're named in it, as well as the other men who are in this whole situation with you. Are there going to be any repercussions based off what's happened? Has anybody spoken to you at all about this?
Yeah, we're definitely pursuing some avenues. I'll say that. There will likely be repercussions for the university, more so than just the social repercussions they've already felt with their statement that has 16 million views and barely any likes. Another funny thing too is like a lot of people are on me. Why would you choose to go to an HBCU? Why would you choose to go to an HBCU? And we keep saying like we first of all, we didn't even know it was an HBCU until like the night before. The reason we chose that university is because it's one of the few public universities in Nashville. You have Vanderbilt and Belmont, which are both private, and then TSU is public, and so that's why we chose it, not because it's an HBCU. But even if we did choose it because it was an HBCU, who cares? Do you want us to exclude Black people from the conversation?
Right.
I think this actually only galvanizes me to want to go to more HBCUs because I think Black people should be included in the conversation, and I'm not going to be intimidated away from public spaces.
Yeah, and it's interesting that in the wake of what's happened to Charlie Kirk and his assassination, a lot of people have been accusing him of being a racist, of being anti-Black. And in the same way that you've just made that statement, you can find similar statements being made by Charlie. And I think it's really interesting imagery to now see white men go to a campus to have civil debate with Black students, and then Black students sort of corralling them out of the campus. And you look at that imagery and you think, okay, well, we've apparently we're in an age of progress, but we've regressed back to this new form of like anti-white racism. And the imagery is right there in the video, and the fact the university is not acknowledging that is just insane.
Hey, they're calling me 2025 Ruby Bridges. So
Okay. It's amazing. That's amazing.
civil rights leader of our
What a
time right here.
moment. Like, what do you think needs to happen moving forward so that you can do something like this at a campus like TSU and have it be successful?
I don't know. I mean, I want these people to know that we're really there in good faith to just have a conversation. Like a lot of people are just saying we came there to incite or intimidate, but I think the footage is very clear, and that's why we posted this video that actually starts with the conversation we were having with the first guy.
Mhm.
So civil on both sides, and
Mhm.
then then it's kind of a time lapse. You see the mob form, and then out of nowhere they start stealing our signs, and like it just evolves very quickly, and it shows the whole thing, how it started and how it ended. And it's like I just want these people to know that we're like genuinely there for a conversation. We don't want to incite. It's not a we don't hate you. We disagree on DAI, and one of the big things I was talking to the first person about was DEI is not good for Black people. I mean,
Mhm.
or women, right? I know lots of people who are in a role because they were hired for what they look like, and they have imposter syndrome because they don't feel like they belong in the role that they're in because they know they weren't hired for their qualifications but for their characteristics, and that's racist. And
Mhm.
I think it's a violation of the Civil Rights Act and the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause, and we should work towards, as they say, a society of anti-racism. And I think banning DEI, which is what our sign called for, is working towards that objective. And they say, well, why? DEI is already banned. Why are you? DEI is not banned. Like affirmative action is banned, and a lot of DEI practices have been clamped down on. But even if it was banned, it doesn't change the fact that people still support it, and so we're keeping the conversation alive so we can have lasting change and not just oh, it's banned, but when a Democrat gets back in office, it comes back.
Right, 100%. And like the fact that you can't, interestingly enough, like what you said is technically anti-racist. And what they did and how they responded is actually what racism looks like. And you are going to run into this on many a college campus, I think, and you already have in doing this. And it does speak to the state of higher education and just the university systems at large, and how these are largely becoming like indoctrination camps for young people who are, well, young adults who are conducting themselves in this way. And I've seen a lot of people in response to your video saying like the Trump administration needs to pull funding from these HBCUs. Like clearly these are not successful engagements, establishments. Do you have any thoughts on that after your experience?
Yeah, so I think the graduation rate of Tennessee State University is 32%. So,
Okay.
irregardless of the riot, the race riot, because they were shouting anti-white stuff at us, I would say any institution that can't keep its graduation rate over 50% shouldn't receive a single federal tax dollars, HBCU or not. It does. I don't care if it's an all-white school, right? You shouldn't be getting any tax money if you can't keep your graduation rate over 50%, because you're basically just funneling money to a bunch of students who are never going to graduate the university, and it's a waste. And that university needs to do better. It's an administrative problem, and a misallocation of the resources they currently have. And evidently, the people running their social medias aren't very bright, given the statement that they made related to our situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's abundantly clear whatever's happening at that university is not good, and it shines in the behavior and the actions of the students here. You said you're going to other universities moving forward. What changes after this moment? I saw the little fund our security fund at the bottom because I imagine a security is being upped in the wake of everything that's happening in the news, let alone your experience here.
Yeah, I mean, not much has changed. We're just going to keep doing exactly what we've been doing. We'll probably, as we raise more money, with the Give Send Go that we have on our socials, we'll have a bigger budget for hiring more security. We had one guard at TSU, so in the future, it might be a good idea to have more. But if things get rowdy, the universities usually send the police, so that's a little safety there. But like at TSU, if there's a mob like that, they outnumber the police, so it becomes still difficult. So yeah, I mean, that's the goal, is just continue exactly how we have been. We're not deterred. I had a detour for some meetings. That's why we haven't hit the universities in the past couple of days, but we're not stopping because of that.
I love to hear that. And you're continuing to want to have civil discussion. I guess this is like a final question here. A lot of these TSU students, I bet, are going to be keeping you on their radar. I imagine they're hopping on your socials. I imagine they're commenting. They're certainly posting on TikTok and X right now. If you could speak to any of the 500 you said, who were there to mob you and riot against what you had to say, what would you say to them now?
I would say I'm impressed by how quickly you all came together. You're welcome for bringing your campus together against a common goal. But seriously, we want to have conversations with you. We don't hate you. We're not racist. We're not anti-black. We're not anti-woman. We're not anti-anything. I mean, we are anti some stuff like DEI, right? We just want to have a conversation about differing opinions. It's not about anything racial. It's just about, I have an opinion and you have a different opinion. Let's talk about it and not hurt each other over those opinions. And that's what it's all about. We want to include Black voices, and yeah.
Well, Cam, I really appreciate that. Of course, we go back a long ways, so I had a feeling that was going to be your message to these students. I'm excited to see what you're doing and what you're going to do next. If you want to let everybody know, as I'm sure they're going to want to keep up with you as things get crazier and crazier. What are you doing? What are your socials? How can they support you?
Yeah, you can find me at Cam Higby on all platforms, and our tour also has its own socials. The Fearless Tour, I think it's at Fearless Debates on all platforms. And yeah, I think we're not on YouTube yet. All of the content from the tour goes on my YouTube, but eventually we'll have one. Instagram and Twitter has Fearless, but Cam Higby and Fearless Debates. That's where we're at.
Awesome. Great. Cam, thanks for appearing on the show again. It's good to see you
Yeah.
again.
Thanks for having me. It's good to see you.